What's going on? Peter Mata here from Eagles.com, and today we have a very special video. We're going to be talking with Tim Bader. Tim is an actor, musician, gambler, YouTuber, all-around entertainer, and most importantly, he's a Philly sports fan. Lives out in LA now, but he's originally from Philly. When it comes to show business, Tim has done just about everything. You might have seen him in TV shows such as Shameless, LA's Finest, Parenthood. You may have seen him on YouTube with the NELK Boys or Steve Will Do It. Tim, also known as Timmy Bounce-Back, also known as Uncle Tim, is here with us today to talk about some Philly sports and to talk about his new podcast, Name Drop. Let's jump right in and get started.
I left Philadelphia in '99 when it was like loser town. We're talking the Detmer brothers, like just making the playoffs was a victory.
Yeah. Bobby Hoying, we thought he was the next he was the next Joe Montana for about 2 weeks, right?
I have to say, when the Phillies won in 2008, the tide started to turn a little bit in Philly, and then the Eagles winning, I went back to visit, and I go, the city has a facelift. There's a different type of city. This is not Loser-ville anymore. Yeah. So like what Boston became. Yeah. But now we're sinking here.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's tough to complain because it's like we're there, right? But like people talking about we're this new city of champions, and then the Phillies lost in the World Series, which was expected. I mean, because that Houston team was unbelievable, but we still wanted to win. But this Eagles game, this was kind of unexpected because I feel like we let one go there. You know what I mean? I feel like we were the better team.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, let's first get back to the Phillies, because that one, we weren't like that great of a team. We got hot. You know what I mean? Like we were not the best team. Like we beat the Dodgers were probably better. San Diego might have been better. Yeah. So for that one, it didn't sting as much. Yeah. However, weren't we ahead at 1.2-1? Yeah. And then at that point, I was like, oh, this is going to happen. So I drank the Kool-Aid. The Eagles, dude, the bummer on this one is the one turnover that Jalen had. Yeah. In my opinion, was the difference. It's 14-7. We're on the 45-yard line. No one is stopping the Eagles offense. They punch that in. It's 21-7. It's playing catch up, you know. I hate to admit this, that Andy Reid definitely coached the Super Bowl of his lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
And he usually out coaches himself, right? Yeah. But I've been a believer in Jalen Hurts since day one.
Really?
Yeah. Only because anybody that plays for Alabama, Clemson, Auburn, they're playing Monday Night Football games their whole collegiate career. Yeah. So the guy wins 2 championships. He gets benched at halftime. He's the first guy out there lifting 2 up. Then he goes to Oklahoma, lights it up there. I mean, I think we have our quarterback. I am a little bummed that we have lost our defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator. Jalen's not had the same offensive coordinator for more than 2 seasons. His life.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I was a little critical of Jalen Hurts. I always liked the guy. I mean, you can't not like him. He's always been like a pretty stand-up guy. He seems like he's a great leader. He's having trouble reading the going through his progressions, seeing the ball downfield, because we've seen so many of these running quarterbacks come in and light it up for a couple of seasons and then not be able to like transition to pass and adjust to the NFL defenses, adjusting to them. And I kind of had a feeling he was going to be that guy, but then I've always been rooting for him. But then he comes back this year, and wow, like this guy, he worked on his game. I mean, anybody that can go from get benched in a championship at halftime, Alabama, and come back, and anybody else would have been like, okay, I'll sit on the bench in Alabama and get drafted and make a ton of money. But he's like, I want to play. It does tell you a lot about him. Anybody that can deal with something like that at even such a young age, it definitely gives me a better idea of why he seems like such like a older than you think he is. You know what I mean? He's still young, but he
100%. And his dad is a football coach. Mm-hmm. And his father's been coaching him up forever. And I believe the Eagles, a new offensive coordinator, Brian Johnson, I believe his name is. And Brian Johnson has known Jalen Hurts since he played in high school. Yeah. That's the one thing that could be the saving grace.
That could be, yeah. And he is definitely the favorite to get that job, Johnson. I'm kind of bummed to see Steichen go because, like you said, Jalen Hurts has not had offensive coordinator. Now it's 2 seasons, but with Gannon, I didn't really like Gannon's style too much, so I'm not as bummed to see him go. But Steichen, yeah, he seemed like he was just kind of getting this offense a well-oiled machine.
He simplified it, and they looked
Yeah.
at film, and they made it. They took Jalen Hurts' strongest points,
Yeah,
stripped them down, simplified them, and executed, which is going to be a problem next year because now all the defenses have video.
yeah, that's
They
true.
have video on Jalen and what he does and stuff, which is going to make it harder, but it's harder for every quarterback.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to work harder, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
think he's going to be good, man. We're going to keep all of our offense, right? Goddard, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. I'm hoping we keep Miles Sanders, but we have Kenny Gainwell.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll be able to keep Miles Sanders. Depends on how much money he's gonna
Yeah.
get. Yeah, I mean, it showed a lot of character of Jalen Hurts coming back from the first year and then getting like demolished by Tampa Bay in the playoffs, his first playoff, and then he comes back and he's even stronger. So I don't think anybody can question him this season. He might take like you said, he might take a quick step back, but that's their offense in general, just because new offensive coordinator, the other teams have seen have film on them now. But I cannot doubt him anymore. I mean, I don't think anybody can after this season, after what he did in the Super Bowl. I mean,
He put up 4 touchdowns,
literally
35
put
points. How do you lose that game?
yeah, I don't know how they lost. I mean,
Yeah.
the defense, they just couldn't stop him. I mean, obviously that turnover was a freak play. It's something he doesn't do.
Right.
People are blaming it on the turf, but both teams had to deal with that.
Well, the other thing is the one thing that drove me nuts was the whole game when the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017. They blitzed Tom Brady every time. They got to him once, Brandon Graham. How are we not blitzing every time? You can't let Pat Mahomes have that time back there. He'll kill us.
And that's my problem with I feel like Jonathan Gannon, I've had a problem with him all season. Even though the Eagles defense was so good, I feel like they were such a talented defense. So he wasn't like we have 2 cornerbacks that are basically shut down corners. And he had them playing in a soft zone the whole game. And if you see what like most of the catches took place are like these little 5-yard slants, 7-yard slants. And a guy like Mahomes is going to rip you apart all day.
Yeah,
And,
they went east and west all day, like you said.
Yeah.
And it was catching yards after too, which drove me nuts.
Yeah.
Listen, it was a bad scheme, and
Yeah.
everybody knows in the NFL. I interviewed Christian McCaffrey one time and I said, what makes a team make it and win the Super Bowl? And he said, scheming. And I go, elaborate. He goes, when you make it to the NFL, every single dude, there's 4 dudes that are as good as you waiting for you to get injured, more or less. So he goes, forget being more skilled. And he goes, plus, if you're willing to work hard and spend time in the film room, like the competition is beyond fierce. And he goes, yeah, have to have a coach that can actually round everybody up and say, this is what my idea of winning is. This is my scheme. This is what we're going to execute. And he said, if everybody is not on board, you're fucking toast. Because nobody wants to do workouts. Nobody wants to hit the gym. But we had a great scheme, even defensively, until the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I'm right with you. I was like, at the end of that game, for one thing, it would have went down as historically one of the best Super Bowls ever. And then that bad call, it just kind of was just like it was just like, oh my God, like it just at least give us a chance to come back. But it was just like that fourth quarter, everything was going wrong for us. And I feel like in that second half, Andy Reid made adjustments to what our defensive scheme was, and Jonathan Gannon didn't. And that's how I feel he kind of did all season. Because if you look at some of the games this season, there was a couple games where the teams made it close and they shouldn't have, and it was because I feel like he just never made that adjustment after the other coach did. And I was worried about the coaching because of Andy Reid, his experience, and I was worried about Mahomes. But more or less, I think it was we got out-coached. I mean, that's
it'll be tough to get back. Historically, every team that loses the Super Bowl, I mean, Cincinnati really impressed me because they lost it 2 years ago, and what did they make it to the AFC title game?
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive. Most of the time, when you make it to the Super Bowl and lose, it's too much of a kick to the nuts.
Yeah.
And now with all these changes, so I'm going to go in to next season for the Birds as like, let's give it a year, because I do think in 2 years they will be back in the Super Bowl, and maybe with Kansas City. Could
Yeah.
be.
I don't see any other team. Yeah, because a lot of guys are going to get signed somewhere else. Coaches get signed somewhere else. I feel like it's just a big turnover on that, like next year. And there's probably,
And we're old.
yeah,
Lane's Johnson's old. Kelsey's old. Is what's his name? In Dominic Sue? Was it Sue? I don't know if he's
Sue.
the
I don't
one
know
year.
if he's coming back. I mean, he was just here for a
Yeah,
couple
I
of
mean, I
months.
got to tip my hat to Howie though. Howie Roseman really.
Yeah. Yeah. You
He's,
can't take anything
and
from
Howie
him.
we trust.
Yeah. You can't, no more Howie hate. I don't think, he might not be the best, talent evaluator when it comes to drafting, but he definitely hosed the Saints on that for that first round pick that we have this year. He gets over on these teams, these other GMs. It's hilarious, to be honest.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about, you know what, I will elaborate on that. How did we get rid of Ben Simmons and get James Harden? Now, I'm not saying James Harden's knock is in big games, he disappears.
Yeah, yeah.
But anything is better than Ben Simmons. Dude,
Yeah.
he's in Brooklyn and they both abandoned him. Like, how bad is this guy? How is he in the league?
He just tried to use all his natural ability, and then he got paid. And I just don't think he has any awareness around him. He doesn't care. He just seems like a guy that's like he's been patted on his back his whole life. Like, yeah, you're the best. And I just think at some point he has to realize, like, oh, maybe I'm the problem. Everybody is leaving me.
He wants to be like an Instagram model or something. It's like,
it's unbelievable.
I mean, that guy just, well, it's bad. I'm telling you, dude, I'm predicting it right now on your show. Sixers, Denver. That's the NBA finals. I'm calling it.
Right, I would like that. I would like anything to get the Sixers out of that second round. That would be, I would take.
Well, if they don't make it to at least the conference finals, they're clearing house. Daryl Morey will go, and so will Doc. And I like Doc a lot. But, it's interesting because I talked to who is the assistant coach? Sam Cassell.
Cassell is the one that, all the fans are
they want him.
Yeah.
And I kind of do too, because he's a good apprentice to Doc Rivers, and he's younger.
Yeah.
So the younger guys tend to get through to the players more than the old school guys. And it's not a slight on Doc. I love Doc. But I asked Sam, isn't Doc more of a motivator per se, more of a guy that questions your ability and maximizes your potential? And Sam goes, no, dude, he's an X's and O's guy. He's a genius. I go, huh? He goes, just try to get millionaire players to execute plays or even look at the playbook. Yeah. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. He goes, nah, dude, it's isolation. He goes, it's not just Doc's fault. It's like trying to get these guys to remember the plays, execute the plays. These guys are egomaniacs. They give me the ball, they shoot a three-pointer. I don't call play. I know. Well, I don't want to drink the Kool-Aid again, but I've been hearing rumblings in Clearwater that the Phillies have a chip on their shoulder, and they're really, really happy with what the front office did for acquisitions. Obviously, Trey Turner is massive, but evidently they put in some guys in the bullpen, and that was always their Achilles. I mean, I don't know, dude. There's so many tough teams in the National League, but could they come out and roll again? I don't know.
I can't doubt them. I can't doubt with a leader like Bryce Harper, a freaking superhero, man. The guy comes out big in every situation. It's unbelievable. But yeah, I think they can do it. I mean, they have like the big time players. If Castellanos plays half of what he has done in the past, I think that's a huge bump to that team, because he had a bad year last year.
It is murderer's row, dude. We have offense, don't we? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Did you go to the Super Bowl or no, Pete?
No, I didn't go to the Super Bowl. Did you?
I was supposed to go. I got a detached retina in this left eye. That's why I'm wearing my Elton Johns. I'm blind in my left eye. I had my tickets. I was going to my eye doctor to get okayed to fly, and she said you have to have emergency surgery on Tuesday. So I had to sell everything. But that being said, I'm glad that I was at home by myself watching the game. It's easier to take the loss. And I'm going to tell you this, and this is, I went to was it 2004 when New England beat the Eagles?
Yeah, 2004.
Okay, I went to that game. I flew from Los Angeles all the way to Daytona, and it was in Jacksonville. I felt that was the most depressed I've ever felt in my life after that loss because of the money I spent, the time you're wearing the gear. You're so close. You're up at halftime again. You lose. You're in this fucking foreign stadium. You feel like such an asshole. So the second time they were supposed to, or they went in 2017, this girl says, "Are you going to the Super Bowl?" I go, "No way." Because I'll make just a long story short. I have 4 tickets. They're $3,500 face value, 50-yard line, 20 rows back. They're free, and I have a private jet. It's yours if you can pick me up and my 2 other Patriot fans. So it's me and 3 Patriots fans. Drive us to Van Nuys. We're going to fly to the Super Bowl. We're going to go to the Super Bowl, come back. I went to it. I stayed sober because I did not want to feel dejected was the word I was looking for.
Dejected, there you go.
Stone sober, Nick Foles, great Super Bowl. Arguably, it's got to be top 10. I mean, even Brady put up like 550 yards.
Yeah, that was...
Until the end, he had a Hail Mary where he could have tied it.
Yeah.
But seeing all the Philly fans and grandfathers and grandsons and husbands and wives, like just totally rejoicing. Dude, it was jubilation. It was amazing. I remember I was in my bed at 4 a.m. I'm like, God, the Eagles just won the Super Bowl. It was a very important day to me. But the loss in 2004 was 100 times worse
really
than the win in 2017.
Wow.
So if I was in fucking Arizona, I would have been pissed.
Oh yeah, you would have been that, especially because that game was so winnable, and we were. I feel like we were the better team. We were that like as a team wise. I mean, but yeah, 2017 that was just like an exhale of the whole city. Just like finally, like we did it. Like it was unbelievable.
I had the worst. I'm old now, so I can't really carry the booze like I used to. But a good friend of mine goes, "Hey, I have to fly to Washington D.C. Why don't you fly into Philly and I'll buy us 2 tickets to the World Series?" And it was the Houston game where we got shut out.
Oh,
so that was, what was that, game 3 or 4?
That was 4. Because I actually went to game 3. I went to the game with
where it was home run derby.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, so he's like, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Well, let's go tear it up in Philly."
Yeah.
I love Nick's roast beef. I love that whole corner in Old City. The other thing about Philly is people are like, "Where to go to eat? Where do you go to eat?" I go anywhere. Any mom and pop place. Order whatever they give you, you won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
So we go to Nick's. We're eating. I'm pounding beers. We're walking down, hitting bars, pounding. Then we go to the casino. There's a fucking casino down there, live.
Pretty nice, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be killing Atlantic City. So then we're there. He's like, "We got to get to the game." By the time I get into the game, I am drunk Frankenstein. I mean, I am so hammered. And I got this stupid red flannel shirt on and his jacket. And he bought the tickets on purpose so that every left-handed Philadelphia Phillies batter was right on me. I was on the city paper the next day with my head down when they lost it was rough sauce.
Oh, that must have been a rough game to go to. I mean, I almost ended up going to that game because the one game was rained out, and then we thought that was going to be moved, but luckily we just ended up going. It was the first World Series game I've ever been to. Craziest game I've ever been to. It wasn't like nail biting or anything, but that place literally was shaking.
Yeah, Philly's the best. And I mean, I'm being biased, I guess, but I've been to a lot of different games everywhere. It's the best place to watch a home game. Like I'm in LA now, and it's like I've been there when the Lakers have won the championship. People just don't give a shit. There's just too much stuff to do in LA. Like Philly, it's in your blood.
Oh yeah,
you know? Even if you go to a bar in the city or even the suburbs, everybody's watching the game. Yeah. And that's great. Out here, no one gives a shit.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the city lives and dies by these teams. It's just insane, which is insane to think about when you're from another city. Right?
Put that much onus on it. I mean, it's true. Like the Phillies loss was easier for me to take because I didn't think we were the better team. I thought we were the hotter team.
Yeah.
But the Eagles lost. I agree with you, Pete. We got beat. I got a buddy that's from Delaware who's a big Eagles guy. He's an actor, Ryan Phillippe. And we went to Arizona to when the Eagles won. They almost lost because the guy missed the field goal. But he was like, he predicted it. He's like, "Dude, we're going to go 10-0. We're going to the Super Bowl." Like I was all set and ready to go. I mean, but God, it was so disappointing. Oh, yeah. Now, do you believe in any, like it's fixed? Like I believe that it is fixed because I believe everything in life is fixed. And it's like, everyone's like, "Well, how can you fix the game?" It's so easy. You can call holding, pass interference, everything.
Like what was going through that ref's mind of like, that's the time I'm going to call a holding penalty. It just
Right.
doesn't make sense. Even I have friends that are Cowboys fans, Giant, even they're like, that was the done, and they love to see us lose, but they're like, I cannot
Not
believe
that
that was
way.
called.
Yeah.
I don't care
And, yeah, and
how
even the week before, Cincinnati did push Patrick Mahomes out of bounds, but it was
yeah,
like
but
ticky.
yeah, they
And then the play before that, they gave him a redo. What the fuck is a redo?
I've never heard of a read. It kind of does make you think. Turf guy, the guy that does the turf, he's known as, I forget he has some nickname. This is his last season doing the Super Bowl, and he is from Kansas City, and he's a
You have to
and
tell
he
me
did the
that.
Kansas City's turf his whole career. He's done he's done the last 20 Super Bowls or whatever. This is his last Super Bowl he was doing, and all of a sudden something's wrong with the turf,
It's a water slide.
and everybody else seems like the Chiefs have the right shoes, but it's like, come on. Everything is
Well,
against us.
here, I mean, I don't want to like, first of all, I love the NFL. I bet on the
Yeah.
NFL. It's legal. I don't care. But do you remember the season when the New England Patriots had a perfect season and then they lost to the Giants? Was that
Giants.
2014?
Yeah, it was the head catch.
Yeah. Okay. That
2014, I think. Yeah.
that year, the year prior to that, Goodell fired all of the NFL officiating and hired new officiating that didn't understand the wink, wink, nod, nod, keep a game close. So let me break it down to you on how many billions of dollars are being spent during the 3-hour interval of a football game. And it's not TV money. If you and I are anywhere USA watching a game and it's 43-3 at halftime,
Yeah.
we're not staying at that bar and watching the game.
Yeah.
It's over.
That's true.
Now, if you remember the Patriots, there were spreads. New England Patriots minus 17.5.
Yeah.
At halftime, they were up so much, they'd go, we're going to interrupt this broadcast and take you to another game that's more competitive because the NFL is so powerful. We all leave our houses, we buy, or we come back, we buy food, we drink beer, we go out. If those games are not competitive, we ain't spending money.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting the fuck out of there. The next season, he hired all those officiating back. Why do you think there's a line? There's a line to keep it realistic so you can bet and keep someone's interest. It's so obvious. Anything controlled by man, driven by money, it's gonna be immoral. It just is. There's just too much money.
It does make you think that how good the odds maker, the line makers on Vegas, like when they put those lines up, how close they are to that line. Like, you know, they have some kind of inside track. I mean, these guys can have as much information as they want, but sometimes, man, they are just right on the money, and Vegas always seems to win.
All right, I'll tell you another thing. I can't say his name, but I was at a casino in Las Vegas, and it was the 24 or 28-3 Atlanta New England game. And I bet New England to the over for the game. And then I bet New England and the over separately. And then halftime, I looked like I was mushed. So then I doubled down and bet New England to the over. So it goes into overtime, and I'm talking to somebody that's in a very powerful position at the time in Las Vegas. And he goes, "You're going to win your bet." And I go, "What do you mean? If they kick a field goal, it'll push." He goes, "Oh no, the money is already left Vegas in Brinks trucks during the second half. They're not going to allow a push for people to come back and get their money back." He goes, "They're going to go right down, and Atlanta's going to roll over, and New England's going to score." It's exactly what they did.
That's crazy. That's insane.
I know, but that, I'm allegedly. I don't want to get in trouble. I always get in trouble.
So back to the Phillies. You're a Phillies guy. I was watching an interview one time of you, and you lived my dream. Okay. There's only two people that would really be starstruck, and that would be Stallone and Chase Utley. You got to hang out with Chase Utley and shoot the shit with him. That's like, is he the coolest guy in person as he is on TV? Is he that
I'll
cool?
I'll tell you the story because it's amazing. My brother and I were in a band, and we were recording at a studio every day on Beverly Boulevard in Los Angeles. We ate at a place called Pane Vino. Rod, if you're listening, he owned it, and he was great. He took care of us all the time. We cruise in, and at this point, I just would go to the bar every day at 4:00 and watch the Phillies. So I had a pretty good knowledge of I get a pretty good Phillies IQ. And my manager or my agent at the time, when when the Phillies drafted Chase Utley, he goes, dude, this guy is a stud at UCLA.
No, yeah,
Like he filled it for Troy Goss. Like he goes, you have Jimmy Rollins now, and you now have Chase Utley. Like you're building something. This is my agent telling me this. So I started to pay attention. So I walk into the bar and he's got a beanie cap, Chase.
okay.
And he's having a big dinner, his wife and everybody. And I go, Jesus Christ, Matt, that's Chase Utley. He goes, how do you know? I go, because I don't do anything but go to the bar and watch the Phillies. That's him. I go, how do I go up to him? And he goes, not like this. So this is beautiful French hostess. And I was in there and I know her. I forget what her name was, Naomi or Marie or something. And I go, do me a monster favor. Please go over to that table, ask the guy with the beanie hat if his name is Chase Utley. And if it is, there's 2 Philadelphia Phillies fans that want to thank him for the year last season and have a good season this year. And she comes back and she goes, it is in fact Chase Utley. And he cannot believe that you picked him out of the lineup. Like, because he had a hat out, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he wants you to buy this bottle of wine. It was a $60 bottle of red wine. I'm like, boom, sign up. And she goes, because when he's done dinner, he really, really appreciated that you didn't approach the dinner table. When he's done dinner, he's going to finish the bottle with you and your brother. How cool was that?
That's cool.
So
that's
45
cool.
minutes, dude. I'm trying to become best friends with him. I'm just being
absolutely.
honest.
Yeah. That's what I would. Yeah.
So I say, dude, what music do you listen to? He goes, whatever's in the clubhouse. I'm like, cool. And I'm like, do you watch any like TV shows or like any movies or stuff like that? He goes, you know what, dude? I watch a ton of film. Like I really love watching pictures and stuff like that. Super nice, you know.
Yeah.
And I go, dude, I just saw Joe Torre at Santa Anita. We love the racetrack. You ever come out? He goes, oh yeah, that sounds pretty cool. And I go, who is the filthiest pitcher in the league? He goes, Roy Oswalt. He goes, he's got a slider. As soon as I went to baseball,
he lit
that's
up.
all he cares about.
He lit up, right? Yeah.
He lit up.
Yeah.
Lit up. Starts telling us. And then I said to him, we got into who was our closer? Brad Lidge got rocked by Albert Pujols. And he's like, dude, I'm telling you, this team is special. Our offense is good. Our bullpen, you don't need to worry about our bullpen. And then I go, do you really hate the Mets? And he goes, I fucking hate the Mets. I hate their stadium. I hate their uniform. And I hate their fucking mascot. At this point, we're about 3/4 of the wine in.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, fuck, man. So he was super cool. One of my other buddies showed up, super gracious. And then he said the last thing he said to me was, the last thing you have to worry about this Philadelphia Phillies team is their bullpen. Then cut to, I am at the National League, the pennant, and Brad Lidge has not blown a save. Has not blown a save.
No, yeah, he had a perfect season that season.
He had a perfect season. So I'm there with my pals, and Brad Lidge is coming in. The stadium, the Dodgers, is empty. It's fucking empty. And I see my old attorney, and I go, dude, what do you got around your neck? He has like the golden Dodger pass. And he goes, here you go, my friend, take it. I'm getting out of here. And he leaves. So this pass allows you to go underneath home plate where they have this big spread and buffet.
And the game's over. They already won?
Well, almost. So I start to cruise down the stairs, and I got my Wayne's World ticket. And I hear friends, family, and fans of the new National League pennant winners, the Philadelphia Phillies. And I was like, I was going to go into the ballroom, but left is where the locker room was. So I go, fuck it, I'm a fan. So I cruise in, and the guy guarding the locker room had to be about 150 years old. He's just sitting there. And I show him my ticket. He goes, where's your press pass? And I go, dude, the Phillies are going to the World Series. I don't know where it's at. I just got to get in here. I got a job to do because I can't let you in. I go, look, I got this and this. I go, I just got to pop in and pop out. Look at this crew. And the real press is coming.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, go in. Dude, I walk in to the locker room. To the left is Cole Hamels receiving the MVP award from Charlie Emanuel. Now the real security guards come over to me. And they're like, where are your credentials? And I go, dude, give me 2 seconds. I just want to watch my cousin Cole get the MVP. It's unreal.
Oh,
the guy goes, oh my God. He goes, oh, so sorry. But I'm in there with a knockoff Philly shirt with a shamrock or some bullshit. Another guy comes over, hey, where are your credentials? Funny enough, Greg Dobbs signed my Phillies hat. He was a utility player.
Yep. One of the best pinch hitters in the league.
And I go, my buddy Greg Dobbs has got it. I go, Greg. And Dobbs just hears his name and waves back to me. Why wouldn't he? He's going to the fucking, and the guy goes, sorry. I'm sorry about that. So now I know I got to get a beer and act like I fucking belong. So I get up against the wall and I'm just like, just minding my business. And Brett Myers, Joe Blanton, and Pedro Feliz.
Okay.
And it was Brett Myers that said, where'd you get that shirt? Citizens Bank parking lot? Because it was like, and I was like, yeah, I go, dude, I go, dude, great season, man. Great season. Congratulations. And he goes, prepare to get fucked up. They have goggles on. They shake champagne and they mow my face down. I'm like a performing seal, just getting mowed down.
You're just like, let it happen. Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah. And they go, get over here. And they throw me a Bud Light.
That's awesome.
At this point, but mind you, I've never swung a bat. Like the most unathletic guy in the world.
Okay.
And we're jumping up and down. My brother-in-law calls me and he goes, are you in the fucking locker room? And I'm like, yeah. At that point, MLB.com takes the picture. And the next day it was on MLB.com's front page, on the internet. And my college buddy goes, dude, how the fuck did you get into the locker room? And I was like, just a series of lucky things. Now, I kind of know Jimmy Rollins from out here, but I see Chase.
Okay.
And I'm like drenched.
He knows me. Right, yeah.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, he knows. Yeah. and I go up to him and I go, hey, Chase, congratulations, man. You sure were right about our bullpen. And he goes, how the fuck did you get in here? And I go, Chase, great season. I'll see you. And then I went out to the field and I'm standing on the pitching mound drinking Budweisers with Pat Burrell.
Yeah.
And there's still crowds of Philly fans there. And they see my shirt and they start cheering. And I go, fuck it. So I look back and I'm like, fuck that. And then they realize I didn't belong there. So I had 45 minutes in the locker room.
Dude, that's like you lived the dream for those 45 minutes. That's a great story.
Chase is a great guy, but he is a baseball guy. I think he's really getting into golf now, but he's just one of those dudes that's hyper and laser focused.
Yeah.
I mean, I forget. Johnny Gomes, who played for Tampa Bay, they lost. Gomes and I are in Vegas, and he goes, "How about your boy Chase Utley? Does he ever fucking blink during a game?" He never does. He's just so focused,
Yeah, no, that's why I liked him. He didn't care. He would take hit. He would get the hit. I think he was one of the most hit by pitches out of any baseball player like ever. But yeah, I mean,
he took it like a man. He would take it like a man, never after and run to first base.
Yeah, I've never seen. I went to the game when he was on LA. He came back to Philly. I went to the first game when he came back, and I've never seen a visiting player get that ovation. And not only did he get that ovation, he got an ovation every time he was up at bat. And then he got 2 curtain calls because he hit a solo home run and then he hit a grand slam. And he's a visiting team. And like at this time, the Phillies are bad. This is like 2014 or something like that. They're out of it, whatever. And and I was one of the people like I didn't care. It was awesome, man. That was I've never seen that to a visiting player ever. I don't know if that'll ever be done again.
I guess the likability with Chase is, one, he plays the game the right way, which everybody that knows baseball loves it, right? Yeah. He plays by the unwritten laws and all that stuff. 2, he's great. Like he's great at hit. He's just a great hitter and he was a great, defensive player. But 3, there was a child. This is what Ryan Howard told me. There's a childlike thing about him that he never let go about baseball. They used to call him Smutley because he would always slide to dirty up his uniform all the time. They're like, dude, you have to play every game and just trash your uniform. And it was like kind of an inside joke. So they used to call him Smutley. And then the other thing that made him laugh now, because you got me remembering hanging out with him, was I go, how come in Philadelphia, Pat Burrell gets booed and just assaulted all the time? He literally spit his wine out laughing.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
Dude,
he's like good friends with Burrell. That's why he probably laughed. He's like good friends.
Because he goes, if you look at Pat's numbers, his lifetime numbers are above satisfactory.
Yeah.
He goes, they might not be MVP Hall of Fame, but they're good numbers. But he goes, Pat doesn't give a fuck if he hits a home run or he strikes out. And he goes, Philly, if you hit a home run and you're pumped up, they're pumped. If you strike out and break the bat, they're pumped.
Yeah.
But if you don't give a fuck and you're passive, he goes, that's why they boo him.
Yeah.
But,
As long as you care as much as we do. That's all. That's all we ask.
Yeah.
Care as much as we do, right?
That's Allen
funny.
Iverson.
Yeah.
Think about, he cared every game, and that's why Philly just embraced him and loved him so much.
Brian Dawkins. I mean, guys like that will like go down forever. That's why McNabb still is probably the greatest Eagles quarterback ever, but he has this like haze over it. It's like 50-50 in Philly. Like, people don't like him. People like, because he never seemed like he cared. He would always be laughing. And I think Philly just resented that. It was just like,
I always thought it was a nervous laugh, though.
It probably was.
Yeah. I mean, 2 for the money with Matt McConaughey and Al Pacino. They have Jamie Foxx throwing up in the huddle because Donovan McNabb threw up in the huddle during the Super Bowl. Terrell Owens was like, come on, man, get it together. Yeah. Now, some people said he went out the night before and drank. I think it was just he didn't go out the night before and drink.
Yeah, if you're a podcast. So you're actor, musician, gambler, all around entertainer. And now you've been now you're a YouTuber, right? I mean, you got your own podcast now.
God, it's so crazy.
What to say that to be called a YouTuber now?
Well, I mean, I guess it's safe to say I did come out here for music, and I put everything in the music. And
you don't still play? I
don't really play too much. It's just music's changed, the industry's changed. But I do like acting, and I make most of my money on commercials. That being said, if you watch the Super Bowl, every commercial had somebody famous, either an athlete or a superstar. So it used to be, if you were a movie star, you did movies. If you were a TV star, you did TV. And if you were a commercial actor. So I just did commercials because you made more money, and I'm not really a trained thespian. So like if you were a movie star and then you did TV, they would actually say you're a falling star. Since the evolution of social media, that's all out the door. Everything is get yours. Get as much money as you can. So that being said, again, I'm trying to acclimate to the changing climate of entertainment. And Bob Menery had a podcast called Ripper Magoo, which was massively successful.
Okay.
And he signed with Kevin Conley, and it was me and Lauren and Bob. And we interviewed Christian McCaffrey, Shaquille O'Neal, Ryan Lochte, like Charlotte McKinney, John Voight, like massive stars. Like right out of the gate, we were getting like 250,000 subscribers.
Wow.
Bob can be a loose cannon. He didn't want to do the podcast anymore. He didn't want to live in LA for whatever reasons. To this day, I still don't know. He splits, but we interviewed the NELK Boys, who are YouTube sensations.
Yeah, I think I saw a video with you and them, and I think you were gambling with Dana White, with Steve. I know who they are, and I'm not like an avid fan, but I know who they are. I've seen their videos. They're entertaining guys, and they're huge. They're all over the place.
Yeah, Steve's massive. So he kind of took me under his wing. I'm kind of like the honorary uncle because I know his mom, Mary Beth.
Okay.
And in the videos, he always blames me for gambling and drinking and smoking and womanizing and losing. And it's just kind of like I'm the punching bag comic relief. But he has paid me handsomely, especially through COVID when there was just no entertainment industry at all. But I tell you, there's a place, the Red Rock Casino, that Dana White, I think he's best friends. I mean, Dana, everyone I know that knows Dana loves Dana. Yeah. He helps people. He has a room at the Red Rock Casino that is like playing blackjack in a dining room. It's 2 decks, and the only person that can play at this table is Dana White or a friend of Dana White. It's in the high limits, right?
Yeah.
And it's a room hidden in the back. When if you're the dealer, behind you is a giant TV. We can put on whatever we want with sound. We can plug our Bluetooth in to hear our music. And then like you're in a room with free drinks, couches, and 2 decks blackjack, which is crazy. And then out front is this giant, beautiful bar. So like even like when you go with a gang of people that aren't really interested in playing blackjack or watching it, the hang is still so much fun. And by the way, 2 times, and I won't say how much, Dana was down a fortune. First time I went and I was hammered and I wasn't with Steve. And he walked away. I know he was plus 50. And then he took me to the UFC fights the next day.
Awesome.
He was super, super sweet. The second time I was with Steve, he also left with 50. But I tell him that I'm the good luck guy. I'm always the first guy that gets dealt the cards because I will play by the rules, which is good. So
Yeah.
like, cause you don't want, and
blackjack.
I'm like, Dana, you're betting more money than me. If you want to stay on a 16 against a 10, fine. But I kept hitting, playing by the rules. You know, I have a 16 against a 10. I hit, I get an 8, and he goes, God, you got my 8. So he called me Timmy Bad Luck instead of Timmy Bounce-Back. I go, what do you want me to do, man? I'm up here taking the blows. Now I have my podcast with Purple Banter, who signed me, and it's called Name Drop, because it's just in Hollywood. I'll name drop right now. David Spade said, you're either a friend or you're a fan.
Okay.
And I go, what's the difference? He goes, a friend you go out to lunch and dinner with and hang out. I go, what's a fan do? Get drunk and FaceTime and go, I know David Spade. I go, fuck. So there's some reality to that.
Yeah.
And Dave has kind of been a mentor of what the do's and don'ts and how you know, carry yourself. But it's like, I am a real life Hollywood actor. I've been in movies. I've been in TV shows. I've been in a bunch of commercials, and I've worked with massive athletes and massive stars. So name dropping, it has to be done tasteful in order to get any respect. I kind of equate it to the blue check mark. It's like these people that have a blue check mark on Instagram, everyone's like, oh, the blue check mark. I don't have one. I'm not paying for it. I don't give a shit. But when I meet somebody that's famous, I can try to do like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Hey, you worked with Spade on this job, bop, bop, bop. And then it kind of validates me. Oh, this guy knows the rules. He's in the industry. He's not going to ask me for a picture or leave it. And that's kind of what name drop is all about.
Yeah.
And it's also about, in the entertainment industry, there's always one person that actually helps you, that is as a stature of, you're like, if this person fucking helps me, this shit's really going to happen. And they propel your career. And it's like, the podcast is so easy to talk about, because as soon as I get somebody, it's either my high school Juilliard teacher, or like we had Nick Swartzen on. He goes, dude, there was a manager that signed me in New York, stand-up comedy. I'm 18.
Yeah, I saw that episode. I saw that.
Yeah, so it's like, there's always somebody. And Norm Macdonald, I was best friends with Norm, God rest his soul. Oh, he used to say, you need to have that one friend down the hall, which meant Lauren Michaels at Saturday Night Live. Like, you do need somebody of power to believe in you and help you.
Yeah.
It all comes from like name dropping. I hate to say it.
No,
like,
it's true, because I when we set up the interview, I went and I watched a few episodes, and in the first episode you're talking about how name dropping isn't a really negative thing, and you were explaining it, and it is true, and you can even think about it true in a lot of professions. I mean, like in every profession.
Did you go to college?
What's that?
Did you go to college? Where?
Rowan.
Okay, Rowan College. Let's say that I'm interviewing you right now. Pete, your resume looks great, man. You've worked there, you've done this, it's great. Oh my God, you went to Rowan College? Yeah, I went to Rowan. I went to Rowan too. You did? Yeah. When did you graduate? I graduated. You know Pete McGregor? Pete McGregor, you got the job.
Yeah.
Right there. Even if you're not qualified, that connection, you know I'm hiring you automatically. Yeah. So it's in every name dropping and connecting.
Even if you don't try to do it.
But people laugh at me all the time. I'm going to get in trouble. Dudes, most dudes, and I'm not dealing in absolutes. Most dudes look for common ground. Like, if you put 5 guys in a room of different ethnicities, religions, age, and race, the 5 guys would try to kind of bond. Hey, did you see that game? How about men usually try, you put 5 different women in, it's a game of Survivor. I mean, in the South, it's the worst. They just get out of church and they're waving and they're like, look at her hair. Good Christ.
No,
in fact, a lot of times you talk shit to your guy friends, it's because you like them.
Yeah, that's all my that's how I feel like all my friends do now. Like, I never say good things. I think that's all we do.
Yeah. That's all. Fat, slow piece of shit. You ate that last piece of pizza.
Yeah, exactly. But,
well, I'll tell you right now, entertainment. Like, I know podcasts right now are insanely saturated.
Yep.
But the thing is, people have a lot of hours in a day.
Yep.
And if you can sneak into their niche,
you can find your.
You don't have to have giant numbers to make a living. Absolutely. You know, because like, acting is on the down because all these actors are doing commercials. People stream. Kids under 30 don't watch television. They watch your phones. They watch reality. It's like reality TV.
Yeah.
So it's like that's where I'm trying to live right now on this name drop thing, and just there's merchandise attached to it. I got a beer coming out in April. I got Bounce-Back beer.
Oh
It's
yeah.
beer
Okay.
designed to drink during the day. Very light and refreshing. I want to encourage people to drink in the day because nothing bad happens in the day.
Day drinking, nothing can go wrong. I realized I recognize him because I just finished. This is when I saw you. I finished binging Shameless, and I recognized you.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're like one of the most iconic scenes. It was one of the
Bon
funniest.
Jovi, man.
Yeah.
Hold on to what we got. It doesn't make a difference if we make it
Fuck did you
or
know that?
not. Little bird told me. We got each other, and that's a lot for love.
You're a sneaky bastard.
But give it a shot. Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer
I'll
now.
leave you with this. This is a positive thing. I didn't get to go to the Super Bowl because I had surgery on my eye, but I gambled on Friday at Tampa Bay Downs, and I risked $144 on a pick five, which essentially is a 5-team parlay.
Okay.
So you have to pick the winner in 5 consecutive races,
Wow.
and you can put more than one horse in each race, but that'll make the ticket expensive.
Yeah.
So I risked $144. I'm 4 for 4. I have one horse in the last leg of my parlay, my 5-team parlay pick 5, the 9 horse who won, and his name was One-Eyed Jack.
Oh, there you go. It's right.
20,000.
Keep doing your thing, man. You're entertaining the world no matter what you're doing.
I'm trying.
Your podcast. I'm a fan.
Well,
There's
tomorrow's
plenty of money
Friday,
out
man.
there.
I'm gonna go get a couple beers.
All right,
See you, dude.
thanks
Thanks so
again,
much,
Tim.
man.
See you later.